Good morning and welcome. This is March 4th. It's a Tuesday and it's Happy Pancake Day. So happy make pancakes. Thought I'd do something different as an intro. Anyway, I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host on this live stream. You are to fight CPS with me, your host, Bob Pace, and also to hang on to your children. It's an important matter, CPS is, because it affects our families, it affects our lives. It's something you're not prepared for. It hits you on a blind side. You're blindsided to the fact. Now, use the word CPS, and that has a lot of meaning and a lot of definitions. I call it the Child Protection Systems. It's systems throughout the United States, in every county in every state. It's also worldwide because this live stream is worldwide. I've talked to over 21 countries, from Indonesia to Bangladesh to India to Saudi Arabia to Libya, then over to Africa to Liberia to Sudan, down to Rwanda, then to Mozambique, and then 2 provinces in South Africa. Then up to Europe, England, Scotland, Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond in North America, I've spoken to 4 provinces in Canada, and I've spoken to over 51 states. All 51 states. Some has called in, some 3 or 4, 5 times. And also the District of Columbia. South of the border, it's been Mexico, and then in South America, Grenada. Then across the South Pacific, it's been New Zealand, and then the land down under Australia. There's 2 states in Australia. So that's a lot of people. It's over 1,000 people I've spoken to, and I've been doing this now for 17 months. I do 14 live streams a week, twice a day. One at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, the other one at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm on the West Coast of California. And I want you all to know that I'm here because I care. I'm a loving father and a husband and have 42 years of marriage experiences. I have a lot of life skills I can talk about. And it's been really troublesome dealing with this entity called CPS. This child protection system has many different names. That's why I call it just CPS. Because, for instance, if you're in Orange County, California, it is CPS. It's called the Child Protection Services. But right next door in the county of Los Angeles, it's the Department of Children and Family Services. Then in Prescott, Arizona's Department of Children's Services. Then in Richmond, Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. So it varies from place to place. So when I say CPS, I mean all the CPS systems, everywhere. So that makes it really simple. Now, who is this CPS? Who is this CPS that I talk about? It's a government entity that was mandated by Congress to have social services protect our children from neglect and abuse. And I want to say that emphasis, neglect and abuse. It's also supposed to help families be reunified if the families are necessary to break up, because the best parents are the biological parents. They're supposed to do reunification. But there are a lot of rogue CPSs out there. A lot of rogue CPSs. And you don't know the good from the bad, the ugly from the beautiful. I mean, it's really hard to tell what's bad. One of the first signs you can see is they forcefully into your home or into your life, and immediately take your children and traffic them into foster care. Now, trafficking is illegal, but CPS gets away with it. So is alienation is illegal, and CPS gets away with it because they'll try to drive a stake between you and your children. They'll try to rip your children away. It's all for the purpose of money. It's $1 trillion business. They pay out incentives and bonuses to their social workers. They get more money that's necessary to take care of a child. And the biggest problem about CPS, there's no one watching them. There's no board of directors or board of supervisors. There's nothing at the federal level, at the state level, or at the county level. They're pretty much free to do what they want to do. And they will stretch. They will lie. The bad ones will lie and lie. They will do revenge. They will take your children for no reason. They've become so corrupt. And I hope with what Congress is doing, having the Doge part of the Trump administration clear out and filter out all the waste and all the bad things that are going on with government employees and government workers. And they're ruffling a lot of feathers. And I know today they're talking about it in Congress. But they need to investigate CPS because there's a lot of bad entity there. The whole emphasis with our social services is they're supposed to help people in need. People in need. That means give them food and shelter and clothing and transportation, education and medical, even help them find a job. They're supposed to do that. They're supposed to do that. That's one of the responsibilities. Now, our children have been abused and neglected. There's no question about that. There are 1,000 cases a day that go unreported. And there's 500,000 children that are being investigated for abuse. Now, neglect is when you do not clothe or feed a child, when you do not take them to school, when you don't supervise them. That is neglect. Abuse is when you physically throw a child against the wall or shake the child when he's really young with his head development, so no support of the head. Or if you use a wire, a stick, or even a wooden spoon to corporate punishment of a child, that is wrong. That is abuse. Also, there are some parents that still want to continue their drug use and their smoking use, which are unhealthy to kids. Parents have got to understand there are private times with parents and times with family. And when the family's around, they have to stop from recreational drugs and they have to stop from drinking and smoking. Those are 3 things that are detrimental to a young child growing up. So I know you've come into this room and you're seeking answers, and I'm glad you're here. I'm really glad that you're here. Now, one thing is really important. I need to tell you about this room here. It's been brought to my attention by my attorney, Vincent W. Davis, who provides this podcast. And what is happening is that we need assistance to help keeping this live stream afloat. Now, we're passionate about bringing you the information you need and sharing the stories to raise awareness, inspire, and to fight CPS and to keep creating the content you love, We need your support. Production costs are rising, and every contribute makes a real difference. Now, we offer various ways to support this channel, from one-time gifts to ongoing contribute as a member. Please keep in mind to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the channel is called CPS Defense Strategy Consultant Vince Davis. Now, there are 4 types of ways you can go ahead and contribute to help the show. There's the $10 membership, the $5 membership, the $2.50 membership, and the dollar membership. These 4 ways will help with the show. Now, I know you can send emojis, and one of them is stars, and stars comes with a little bit of money. Keep sending the stars. That's great. Keep sending the stars. And I want to thank our first emoji, but it has a yucky face, so that person's not too happy. Let me see who that person is. Philistine Gibson. She's been on my show for a while. She's from Canada. She's the First Nation people. In Canada, they call the Indians the First Nation. We call in the United States Native American. These 2 groups of people were the first immigrants to come and settle in North America. They came via the land bridge by Alaska, and they settled in Canada. They moved south and settled in the United States, then settled in Mexico, and then down where they met the Spanish, and they formed the tribes, as you know, from back then, the Incas, the Mayans, and the Topascs, and the different kinds of Spanish Indian people. So that's how North America and South America was populated. Now we have our first regular person in the room who is part of the family. It's Margaret King. She's from St. Louis, Missouri. She has Mr. Davis working for you. And thank you for the good morning. Margaret just says, I had a horrific encounter with CPS yesterday. Now, as I told you, we need your help to support this room. Please call in to 888-6582. Tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and that you want to be a member. You want to be a $10 member, a $5 member, a $2.50 member, or a dollar member. Also, we have a website as you go to. It's called the Stand Store /Attorney Vincent W. Davis, VWD. You go to that website and you can go ahead and pay for a membership. Also, you can get guides on how to fight CPS. You can get guides on how to fight CPS. And on top of that, the newest one is called the Grandparents Guide to get guardianship of your grandchildren, to see your grandchildren. Grandparents are an important part of the family. Don't let them tell you that they're not. The parents, the brothers, the sisters, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles and cousins make up the family. They're just as important than the mother and father. They're going to try to tell you that we only deal with parents. That's not true. There's so much lying that goes on with CPS. I don't know how they keep a straight face in the morning when they go to work. Now, Margaret says she had a horrible encounter with CPS yesterday. What was the horrible encounter? Gee, can you send their post, that link here again, please? The link is at the bottom of my screen. It's Stan Store /Attorney VWD. That's the Stan. And don't forget the period after Stan. Stan.store /Attorney VWD. And there you can apply for your membership and get guides, get books, and so forth. That latest book, The Grandparents Guide, is Step by Steps, is available for $9.99. But if you use my discount code of PACE50, you get it for half off. That's capital P, capital A, capital C, capital E. PACE50 will get you there. Is that the link you're talking about, Margaret? Now, Margaret wants to add that the CPS doesn't deal with, they don't deal with parents. They go after other members in your family to try to abduct these kids. Well, yeah, the CPS does do that. But, older brothers and sisters are part of the family, and they should be included if they want to see their brother or sister. Now, Margaret says, my son came over with his kids to visit. The next thing I knew, CPS and the police were at my door, and now they're after my son. They want to talk to him. He told them to get off the property. Well, first of all, is your son over the age of 18? And the reason why CPS, and I always hear this all the time, has the police with them is for the intimidation. Primarily, the police is for the protection of the social workers, because a lot of people have attacked social workers with their anger and frustration with the CPS department. So the police are brought in for protection, but they also get an intimidation factor. They're in their battle fatigues now. Most policemen are. They got their armor on, and they are looking very, very mean and ornery. Also, the police, who are supposed to proudly protect and proudly serve our people, aren't doing their job. Not all police is bad. Not all CPS bad. But there's enough rogue police and rogue police CPS that have really hurt families and hurt people. And so I don't know until you tell me more, Margaret, about the details of why. I mean, is your son at 18 or what? I need to know more details. And they can sit at your house, but they got to be outdoors and outside the gate. They can be on the sidewalk. That's the public place. You tell them. My rule number 3 emphasizes, do not let the police or the social workers in from CPS. Do not answer the door. You were told that when you were growing up as a small child. Your parents should have told you, do not answer the door. Not necessarily all good things happen when you answer the door. If you have family members that want in, give them a special signal to get in, like a repeated ringing of the doorbell or a special knock, like a 1, 2, then wait, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 before you open the door. Because what's been happening is a lot of people have been killed opening the door. There are terrible incidents where policemen, in their zealous attitudes about trying to find the trouble, have the wrong place or they overreact. And it's not necessary to fire 5 shots at someone in the face or someone in the chest. That is deadly. That's not meant to wound them or take them down. That's meant to kill them. I know they're trying to fight for their protection. They allege that they can be shot at. And many times the policeman will be sitting in his patrol car and a person comes by and shoots them. So I'm telling you is that you don't want the policemen or the social workers in your home or on your property. You can escort them off. You can tell them, I not give you permission to enter my home or my property. And you tell them, unless they have a warrant, they can't come. Now, warrant is a legal document that they must go to court to get from a judge. Problem is, CPS uses a lot of old warrants and doctor them up. So it's hard to tell the real from the fake. I'm sorry to say that. CPS is not honest. Not all of them, but enough of them, over 1,000 counties or 1,000 places, because some of the 21 people from other countries aren't in the United States. And they too have experienced horrible, horrible situations with their children. Okay, now Margaret says, okay, your son, your grandparent, is a father of 3 beautiful children. Okay, that is good. I thought he was an older son. Your son was right to get off the property and don't talk to them. You need to have an attorney present. And Margaret was good. She said, I have an attorney, and I refused to talk to her without my legal representative present. Good girl. Margaret's learned well. That's good. Supposedly, I'm not allowed around other children because I have an open CPS case and someone called them anonymously and reported that I have the kids at my home. Well, first of all, don't talk any further to the social worker. You told her that you have an attorney and refused to talk to you. That's all you have to say. When my attorney's present, we can talk. Or better yet, this is a good one. Here is the name of my attorney. Call him if you want to deal with me in the matter. Let them try to talk to the attorney. Let them try to talk to the attorney. In fact, if you're using the lay person or the public defender or the court appointed attorney, just give them the number of that attorney to the social worker so you can talk to them through my attorney. That gets them off your grounds, gets them off your heads, and you certainly don't want to meet there. If you want to meet, a good place is a public place where you can record, like Starbucks or McDonald's. And if you have a CPS case, it does not prohibit you to be around other children unless it says so in the report. Of course, you did not want it. That's good, Margaret. Of course, you don't want it. You just tell her you need to talk through my attorney. Good. I'm glad you did. Good, 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 good. Glad to hear that. Mr. Davis is wise. He said for their counsel, which is CPS, they contact me, my counsel. You see, when attorneys are involved, how it works in a court of law is the attorneys talk back and forth, and the judge is like a referee. He is like a referee. Social workers take too much power in the courtroom. They should be told to keep quiet and talk through their counsel. It seems like the courtrooms are double standard. It's all right for a social worker to approach or talk to the judge, but it's not right for a parent to do the same. They're supposed to talk through their counsel. Well, CPS workers need to talk to their counsel. It should be the counsels talking in the courtroom for their clients and the judge acting as a referee with his knowledge of law. And then he'll make the final decision. But you should start to be asking for a jury trial. I've been investigating that. And there are cases where you can ask for a jury trial to decide the fate of your children. It's not out of the ordinary to have that. It's just that we don't exercise that. In dependency court, there's no jury trial, but you can ask for one. You can ask for one, and they need to turn it down if they don't there. Now, we have a new person from Facebook named Shirley Griggs. And since her comments are not shown in YouTube, I'm going to put it on the screen. They lied. They tried that with me. I know, Shirley. And by the way, Shirley, I'm going to put up when we text comments, there's a format when you type a message to me. It's real important, whether it's a question or a comment, it's about CPS. Please show your first name, your city or county, and the state. And if you're from outside of the United States, put the country, put your country. Also, try to be complete with your CPS case. Tell me how it started, what happened, and where you're at the moment. That would really be beneficial. So that's when you're texting comments. I'm reading them in the room. Now, Margaret said, and because of this, they want to speak to my son. He was advised already on what he needs to do. Stay the heck away from them. You don't talk to a social worker. Remember that. It's really hard not to. You just be polite to them. Ma'am, I've repeatedly told you that my son has an attorney. You need to contact his attorney. You need to have your counsel contact his counsel. Keep that in mind. The more difficult you make it for them, the more they'll back off. The more they'll back off. You need to tell the social worker's counsel to contact your son's counsel. Okay, Shirley, I'm so glad that you know Mr. Vince Davis. And you're from Arizona. What city or county in Arizona are you from? And what is your case about, Shirley? I don't know your case. I know Mr. Davis quite well, and he may know you, but I like to get to know you more and Shirley. I like to help you more and help you. I do. And thank you for that emoji. All right. Thank you, Shirley. Now, another way to talk in my room is to be a guest on my live stream. To be a guest on my live stream, all you need to do is email Grace, my show producer, Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And you just give her the day and the time. It's easy. There's 7 days a week. You just pick one of them. And I either have a morning show or an evening show. So you say morning or evening. And she'll give you the link. It's to get on StreamYard. And StreamYard is the application I use when I broadcast on YouTube. So email Grace. She'll tell you what to do, what not to do, and what to say. Such as we do not use names on the live stream. We don't eat on the live stream. And we use appropriate words on the live stream too. Now, the last way that you can participate, one of the 4 ways, is to call in. I have a phone number, a direct line that you can talk to me at 626 698 0990. If you call from a cell phone, it's not necessary to put 1 at the front of the 626. But if you are using a landline, you need to put 1 and then 626 698 0990. Now, if you're at a country, out of the country, and you want to call in, it's 01 is our country code, 01. I know people in Africa, their country code is 44. In Great Britain, I stand corrected. In Great Britain, it's 44. In South Africa, it's 27. Boy, sometimes I forget. So it's 27 in South Africa and 44 in Great Britain. So I'll leave my number up there. And I'm going to put another banner down below. that talks about how to talk to Mr. Davis for 30 minutes. Okay, Margaret says, yesterday morning, a police officer came inside my home to look around a few hours later. Now, I don't understand, Margaret. I've been telling you for over a year, don't let the policeman in. A CPS worker showed up, remained parked outside my home. Um, just a second. I need to pull it back up here, Margaret. Yes, Shirley. I know that they lie. There's no question that the CPS and the police do lie. It's sad, but it's true. And you say Margaret King, because of this, they wanted to speak to my son. He was advised already on what he needs to do. Stay the heck away from them. Well, again, you don't need to talk to them. Why did you answer the door, Margaret, yesterday morning? Why did you? And why do you allow the policeman come into your home? I know they don't like to be told what to do. I'm sure that CPS worker is going to go after my son. He told her twice to get off the property. Sure, they're in revenge mode. That is an evil entity in St. Louis, Missouri. That's an evil entity. Now, after he told her to get off the property the second time, she finally walked away and sat in her car. She called him 20 minutes ago and left a voice message that she wants to speak to him. That's not a big deal, and that she wants to educate him. All he has to do is tell that social worker, and you too, talk, have your counsel talk to my counsel. You only will talk through counsels. Margaret says, if they would see me alone with my girls yesterday, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have taken them. I know that they're your grandkids, Margaret, and they certainly should not have taken them. What did the father do that made them take the girls? And where are the girls located? I thought the girls were at home with you. Are they in foster care? When you're alone in a home, you don't answer the door. I know you think you have nothing to hide, but they will find things. Last night, a lady was telling me that a bottle of whiskey left in the home on a tabletop of things was enough for them to make a federal case out of their family. So I'm telling you, you don't know what to hide from them or anything. The best solution is to have your counsel talk to your counsel. Tell them that. You don't need to talk to them because they're buffoons and they're liars. They are so bad. Now remember, the only time they're going to break down doors, Margaret, as if domestic violence is going on and the children are in danger or caught in the crossfire. Now, as parents, you do argue, and that's wrong in front of children. You do the same thing with your kids. You do a timeout. You take a hike, you take a walk. If you live near a park, take a walk in the park. If you live near the beach, take a walk at the beach. If you're in downtown city, take a walk in the city. But whatever you do, you go your separate ways, and then you come back and you can talk. I'm talking about spouses or girlfriends, boyfriends, or something else along those lines. Now, Margaret says, I was alone at home. I had nothing to hide. Plus, I have, and I'm out on or due to a criminal case. I figured they wouldn't have returned and busted my door down. Well, they're not going to bust your door down. If it's safety of the child, they will. Or if they have a warrant, they won't bust your door down. They'll show you the warrant, and you have to follow what's on the warrant. Now, Margaret says the girls were not taken. They were at risk. Okay. Somehow CPS has identified the risk. What are the risks, Margaret? Can you tell me more information? Margaret further says, when the CPS worker showed up, I did not allow her in my home. She did not see me. She came with an officer. Don't answer the door. Don't answer the door. Now, Margaret's asked me a question. Have you ever heard of such a thing because you have an open CPA case, you came around your other grandchildren or your children? No. I mean, they'll think of anything to do to keep you away, to humiliate you. But if you have a case, nothing stops you seeing other children. They have to have a court order that says so. No, it's not because you have a case. There has to be a court order. Again, you need to ask Mr. Davis. You need to ask Mr. Davis that question. Okay, Margaret? Now we're halfway through the podcast, the live stream. This is a live stream. And we have about 20 minutes left of the live stream. There is no court order. I realize that. So you can see other children, be around other children. I just want you to emphasize that. Welcome, Jessie Universe. She's a new person from YouTube. That's very true, Bob. I was having visits with my 1-year-old at home. Social workers doesn't have to know about other kids in the home. Social workers don't need to know a thing. Go through your counsel. Use your attorney to their attorney. You don't need to mess with social workers. That was my most mistake part. You know, after talking about this, and I've been doing this for a good 17 months, since October of 2023, that social workers I hear a humming sound, so I'm trying to find out where it is. I think it's outside. Okay. It is best to keep social workers in the dark. You do not communicate or talk to them because what you say will be used against you. These were my mistakes. I opened my mouth. I invited them into my home. that was wrong. You should never do that. You should never do that. And so, um, uh, Jessica, what part of the country are you from? What is your city, state, or if you're from another country, what's your country, Jesse? Margaret says, at this point, I'm convinced that they are retaliating because I know they know that Mr. Davis is an excellent attorney and to be messed with. Yes, you're right. That's right. They retaliated against me because of my use of Vincent Davis. When I hired Vincent Davis a year into my um, CPS case, he made things change around. There was a time where my daughter was going to be adopted by my wife's sister and husband. And that sister and husband were being questioned in court by Mr. Davis. Not necessarily the husband or the wife, but the social worker was put on the stand under oath to testify what kind of parents these were. And Mr. Davis had his strategy, his game plan. He first asked what kind of parents they were. And the social worker proudly says, they're great parents. They'd be perfect for our daughter. And then he asked a real important question. Has there ever been any domestic violence? And the social worker said, no domestic violence. Well, then Mr. Davis took out a folder and it had like 30 reports in there. And he read report by report for the local police of domestic violence, but not just violent domestic violence, physical domestic violence. These parents, my wife's sister and husband, like to settle things with their fists or hurt each other or throw around things. This is not a safe environment. So Vincent Davis caught her committing perjury in court and stopped the adoption of her daughter. Well, that was a good thing. But I did not know at the time that she was going to retaliate. And what she did, she told us parents, you'll never see your children, you never see your daughter again. You'll never see your daughter again. And what she did is that she told our 12-year-old daughter, who didn't know very much about CPS, that you need to emancipate from your parents. In California, the age of emancipation is 12. Any child can ask to be emancipated. That means she divorced her mother, her father, her 3 brothers, her 2 sisters, her both sets of grandparents, and her aunts and uncles and cousins. She was told to do that, and she did. She was also told to change her name, and she took her beautiful name, and her middle name was Honolulu, which is a beautiful place in Kauai, and changed it to some name that wasn't given to her at birth. It was a name that she liked for her first name, and then she took on, I don't know what her middle name is, but her last name is the foster parents, which have a Hispanic name to it, and she's not Hispanic. I'm not down being a racist. I'm not against anybody that are Spanish, or if they're black, or if they're purple or green, or they come from a different country or a different world. I'm open to everybody. I'm open to all the colors, all the races. But this social worker was in a destructive mode, a terrible mode. And what she did is she kept encouraging her daughter. After the change the name completely, she said, "You're going to seal the birth certificate." I didn't know you could do that. So she sealed her birth certificate, doesn't show her birth parents, got a new birth certificate, showed her foster care parents as the birth parents. They weren't with her for the first 12 years of life. And she got a Social Security card, which is illegal. She's now using 2 Social Securities. She has 2 Social Security numbers. And because of my age, I was getting additional funds for my Social Security for having children over the age of 60. I think it's age 60. I'm not sure. I have to double check that. But anyway, I was getting Social Security help to take care of the children. So I was paying that adopted family twice as much out of my Social Security funds. Those funds never came back to me. They went to a stranger. And that stranger, both of them together, made, $500,000. They both had $250,000 incomes. Anyway, to make it short, she divorced us. She no longer has anything to do with us. She's 22. I've not seen, held her, or told her, or talked to her since she was 12. It's a sad state of affairs, a really sad state of affairs. And I'm still hurt by it. Social workers are mean. They retaliate. You cannot trust a social worker. If there's good ones out there, be cautious. Be polite, but don't say too much. Use your counsel to talk to them, to their counsel. Remember, it's counsel to counsel. The judge is a referee. So anyway, she now is 22 years old, and to this day, she has nothing to do with her mother and father. I do encourage her brothers to see her, so from time to time, she has seen their sister. I do encourage that. Now, Margaret King says the predator, which was the false accusation, that means it was a layperson. There are 2 kinds of people that call in. There are mandated reporters, which are the professionals that work with children. They take CPS classes and learn how to recognize abuse and neglect and learn how to report it appropriately. 75% of the time, they are correct. The other group, which I call the layperson, are the people like your girlfriend, boyfriend, friends, relatives, acquaintances. Those kinds of people will call in, and 50% of the time they're wrong. 50% of the time they're either retaliating or they say lies. And that's what's happened now. The real predator is the one that made the false claim. And right now it works that if a claim comes in on you, you're guilty till you're proven innocent. It's the only court of law. that you're guilty before you're proven innocent. That is wrong. It's got to be a jury trial. Let your peers decide how your family life is going to be forever. It should not be entrusted to one individual like a judge. That a lot of times is corrupt because he sides with the social workers. They go out together, they have lunch or breakfast, they play golf. It's real social scene in the courtroom, which it shouldn't be. But the social workers, counsels, the judge, and the bailiff and the clerk all get together and do things. So that's wrong. Now, this false accuser being her sister. Okay, so Margaret's sister is a riff with a family member. That's where it's being abused. The reports that started all this was the one that did a welfare safety check call to my home yesterday. That's what happened in my case. For 5 years, when I lost my job in 2010 through no fault of my own, at age 60, I was forced to try to find another job. I'm still searching for that job. It's been 15 years. I try to get a career job in my field or my experience, my background. But Margaret King's sister is using alienation to try to get her kids or to harm to Margaret. That is wrong. That is wrong. And people that lie can be sued. If you are a person that reported it not being true, then you can be sued. Also, furthermore, I think both mandated reporters, the professionals, or the layperson should protest in writing, should say a statement in writing and sign their name. And that should be important with your documents and your case. It's really important there. Now, Margaret says her sister is very subtle in her words right before she makes an attack. Yeah, she's like a spider. She's weaving a web and bringing you in. That's what CPS workers is. Keep in mind that CPS workers aren't your friend. Their goal is supposed to be family reunification or return the children. But they have alternative motives. It's sickening that you have to deal with a government agency that corrupt. That is that corrupt. I know firsthand because I've been there. Everything you guys are going through, I've been there. And I have to live with it. Every day I do this twice a day, talk on my show. This live stream. Now, if you guys call in or a guest on my live stream, you'll get a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. All you have to do is tell me you want it, and then I'll tell you how you can get it. Now, Margaret says the CPS worker did not see me with any of the children. That's good. She has no reason trying to communicate with my son. Her only reason is to open a case on my son and take his beautiful girls. Well, first of all, you have a counsel. Now, my question is, why is Mr. Davis representing you? Why is he not representing your son? because that's where the case is at. That's where you have to fight the CPS system. Now let's see what else. All right, I think I got myself caught up. I now do a time check. We have less than 5 minutes. In fact, it's now 11 o'clock. So my time is up. My time is up. And I hope I helped you, Margaret, with some ideas. Yes, I know that they may need. And so, what is Mr. Davis helping you out, Margaret? What is he doing to help you out? It looks like this is getting out of hand. Margaret, I got to go. I don't mean to, but we can continue this on tonight. I want to thank you very, very much for texting me the messages. Maybe tonight you can call in and talk to me, because talking, sometimes you get a lot more said and it's a lot easier and so forth. So I want to say God bless to you all. Thank you all for all the emojis, and keep fighting for your kids. Do not give up. But I need to go. Yes, you have a wonderful day too, Margaret. God bless you all, and thank you all. I think we had one other person that called in here, Jesse Universe, and I hope to hear from you again. I don't see a place you're from, but that's okay. We also had Shirley Griggs. I can't forget Shirley Griggs. And thank you. She was from Arizona. She was from Arizona. So we had several of you in my room tonight, this morning. That is great. So I'm going to see you tonight at 7 p.m. This is Bob Pace saying, keep fighting for your kids. God bless you. And I now end my stream.